Hello, welcome. My name is Richelin Garcia. Today I bring for you a new series of videos called Yin Yoga for Beginners. The series will have a total of 5 classes of about 1 hour, and in each one we are going to be working with different parts of our body. I know that maybe not everyone is interested right now in the theory or technical aspects of Yin Yoga and prefer to start practicing right away. If this is your case, you can do so by skipping to the minutes that I will write here. So now for those who are interested, I will tell you what is the difference between Yin Yoga and traditional yoga styles like Ashtanga or Hatha. The word Yin comes from Yin Yang, which is a concept of the Chinese Taoism, represented by this symbol that you have probably seen before. The Yin Yang philosophy talks about opposing forces that complement each other and are also interconnected. The Yang is represented by the white part, and it has energy of the sun, energy of light, it's hot, it's active, it's energy of everything that is exposed and that we can see. The Yin is represented by the black part, and it's energy of the moon, of darkness, it's cold, it's passive, and it's the energy of what is hidden and we can't see. The traditional yoga styles have yang energy. During the practice, we are flowing between the poses, we are constantly activating our muscles, we are generating heat in our body. Yin Yoga obviously has yin energy. We hold each of the poses for 2 to 5 minutes. We relax the muscles. We are not generating heat in our body. And the main focus is to work with the deepest tissues of our body, such as the joints, the tendons, and the fascia. And what is the fascia? The fascia is a tissue that surrounds all of the muscles and organs of our body and connects them from the tip of our feet to the tip of our head. If you have ever cut a piece of meat, you might have noticed that between the red parts there are some very thin white lines and sometimes a bit transparent. Well, that's what will be the fascia. But watch out, it's not the fat, it's the white part that is also hard. The fat is soft. So these connective tissues are not very elastic, and to work with them we have to put some pressure and tension on them for long periods of time so that they can get stronger and more flexible. And this is what we do with Yin Yoga. When we hold the poses for long periods of time, we stimulate these tissues that don't have a lot of elasticity, and little by little they will stretch and become more and more flexible. And this is why if we practice Yin Yoga every day for 2 weeks, we will notice a big difference in our flexibility. And that's in the physical aspect. In the mental and spiritual aspects, while we're holding the poses, Yin offers us the opportunity to pause and connect with ourselves, with our emotion, and this in turn will help us to calm our mind and reduce the everyday stress. Yin Yoga also has an aspect that is connected with the Chinese acupuncture, where it is said that we have energy channels in our body called the meridians, through which qi or qi flows, and qi is vital energy. If these energy channels are blocked, we can experience health problems. In the Hindu traditions, these channels will be the equivalent of the nadis through which prana flows, and prana is also vital energy. It is more or less the same thing, but with different names. So when we practice Yin Yoga, we are also stimulating these energy channels, and we can get benefits similar to those of an acupuncture session. Now, when is the best time to practice Yin Yoga? The answer to this question is it depends. It depends on what our intention with the practice is. If we want to focus on flexibility, then it's a good idea to do it in the morning or when our muscles are cold. If we want to calm our mind, we can do it at any time of the day, as long as we haven't just finished eating. If we are very tired and we want to recharge our energy, Yin Yoga will help us with an extra boost of energy. We can also practice it when we want to balance the Yang energy in our life. If we are always very busy and active, Yin is a good way to balance that. Personally, I like to practice Yin Yoga the day after I do full Ashtanga series, which is quite strong and very Yang. I also like to practice Yin on days when I feel tired or I don't feel like doing yoga. So in conclusion, the answer to the question varies from person to person and what works best for us in the moment. Now, before we start with today's class, I would like to add that just like with the traditional styles of yoga, when we practice Yin, we have to make sure, first of all, that if we have any serious health condition, we must check with our doctor to make sure that we are not at risk when doing these practices. We should not have eaten anything for the past 2 hours. We should wait at least 30 minutes after waking up to give our body time to activate. And specifically in the practice of Yin Yoga, we put on comfortable clothes. And if it's winter or it's a cold day, we can practice wearing a sweater, socks, and even putting a blanket on top of ourselves to keep our body warm, since we are not going to generate heat during the practice. And last but not least, we use as many props as necessary when we are holding the poses. We want to be as comfortable as possible to be able to relax, and we can do this with the help of the props. So it's always a good idea before starting the practice to place near our mat cushions, blocks, folded blankets, small pillows, big pillows. And my motto for the Yin practice will be, it's better to have the props and not need them than need them and then not have them. So always keeping this in mind when practicing Yin Yoga. So after this small introduction, we are ready to start. We are going to start today by laying on our back in Shavasana. And as we practice, I am going to talk a bit more about Yin Yoga and what the practice means. So for now, I just want you to relax your whole body. Take a deep breath in towards your belly. And then slowly release it. Once again, take a deep breath in. And then slowly release it. Now just go back to your natural breathing. And just observe your body. How does it feel today? Are there any parts that you feel some discomfort? Are you feeling tired or energetic? And also, how are you today emotionally and mentally? Now take a deep breath in, and with the exhalation, you can open your eyes if you have them closed. And now we are ready to start with our first pose of the day, which is Bananasana. And for this pose, we are going to place our feet on the outer edges of our mat. And then we are going to bring our right foot next to the left, and we can choose to bring it on top of it or just leave it next to it. Then we are going to bring our arms over our head, and we are going to hold the right wrist with the left hand, and then we are going to move our body towards the left. So we are going to make a banana shape with our feet. When we do this, we are going to feel a stretch on the right side of our body. And when we are doing this, we also have to make sure that we are not turning our body. So we want to make sure that both of our hips are touching the floor and both of our shoulders are touching the floor. And then Once we have found the position that is the most comfortable for us, we just stay and relax the whole body. And now we are going to hold this pose for 2 minutes. I am setting up the timer. In Yin Yoga, usually when we are holding the pose, there is space for us to connect with our breath and had a bit of a meditative side to it. But that's not going to be the case in this class. I'm going to be talking a bit more than it's usual in a Yin Yoga class, so that I can explain to you the rules of the game. So it's said that in Yin Yoga there are 3 main rules. The first one is that we are going to find our edge in the pose. So the pose that best suits our body, where we are feeling a bit of the stretch, a bit of the work, but it's not the limit. So we do only 90% of what is possible for us. Then the second rule is to stay in the pose, resisting the urge to move and fidgeting. And the third rule will be just to stay there and relax and stay with whatever comes up while we are holding the pose. We can also choose to close our eyes, or we can also keep them open. And then we just focus in our breath. So that's 2 minutes. Now we are going to come slowly to the middle, back into a Shavasana position, and we do our rebound. So in Yin Yoga, between poses, we do a rebound. So we bring the body back to a neutral position. We observe the effects of the pose that we just did. We reset our body, and then we continue to the next side or the next pose. So now place your feet on the outer edges of the mat, and then now bring the left foot next to the right foot, and maybe bring it on top of it or leave it on the side. Then you're going to bring your arms over your head and then hold the left wrist with the right hand. And now you're going to bring your torso towards the right side, and you're going to start feeling a stretch on the left side of your body. For some people, the stretch might be stronger on the hip. For some people, more around the arm or the rib. Is different for everyone. Remember that you should not do the maximum stretch that is possible for your body. Do only 90% of the effort. And now we are going to hold it for 2 minutes. While we are holding the pose, we can observe where we feel it, connect with those parts of our body that are being stimulated. In this case, the left side of the body. We might notice that one side is different than the other. It doesn't feel the same. On one side, we might feel the stretch stronger than the other. 20 more seconds in this pose. Now we slowly come back to the center. Bring our feet and our arms come back into a Shavasana. Feel the effects of the pose. Relax completely and just observe. Now with the next inhalation, we're going to bring our legs towards our chest and we are going to hold them with our hands and move a bit from side to side. Now we are going to do our next pose, recline twist. So we extend the legs and then we are going to bend the right knee and then we are going to bring the right leg towards the left side. So we are creating a twist in our spine. If your knee cannot touch the floor, then you can use some support underneath your leg, your knee, so that you will be able to relax in the pose. Then we are going to bring our arms at a shoulder level on the sides, and we can keep them like this, or we can choose to bring the left hand on top of the right leg and then bring the right arm over our head. Then finally we can choose to keep our head looking up, or we can turn our head towards the right side. Once we have found the variation that best works for us, we stay in the pose and now we hold it again for 2 minutes. If you start feeling any tingling sensations in one of your arms, feel free to adjust and change the position. There are, of course, exceptions to all the rules. So in the case of Yin Yoga, the rule of staying in the pose and with whatever comes up, resisting the urge to move, that only applies if we are resisting the urge to move away from discomfort. But if we are feeling pain, then it's better to adjust. We are not trying to harm ourselves. On the contrary, we are trying to relax. Some stretch and discomfort here and there is okay, but pain is not okay. In this pose, we also want to make sure that both of our shoulders are touching the mat. If the right shoulder starts lifting up, then we lose a bit the twist in our spine, which is the target in this pose. So that's 2 minutes. Now we slowly come back to our rebound, our Shavasana, and feel the effects of the pose. Relax and feel. Now we are going to bend the left knee And we are going to bring the left leg towards the right, so we have a twist on our spine, and maybe we move the support to the other side for our leg. We bring our arms at shoulder level, and then we can choose to bring our left arm up over our head and place the right hand on top of the left leg, or we can just keep the arms extended on the sides, whatever that feels more comfortable for you. Then you can choose to look up or look to the left. Remember, both shoulders should be touching the mat. And now we are going to hold the pose for 2 minutes. Relax your face, relax your jaw, observe where you are feeling the pose. Connect to that part of your body. Or you can just observe your breath. So that's 2 minutes. Now slowly we come back to our rebound, to our Shavasana. We feel the effects of the pose and relax. Now we are going to bend both of our knees, and we are going to move our legs both towards the right and then to the left. So we do the windshield wipers. This is the yang part of the yin practice. There is a bit of yang and everything that is yin. There is a bit of light in the darkness and a bit of darkness in the light. Now we stop the movement, we extend our legs, and we are going to turn our body and come on our bellies for a Sphinx pose. In Yin Yoga, when we are doing this thing, we don't have to always keep the elbows underneath the shoulder. We can keep them a bit more towards the front. We can choose to have our arms parallel with each other, or we can interlace our fingers. And if this feels too strong on our lower back, which is the target in this posture, then we can bring our arms even a bit further towards the front. So we want to feel our lower back, but we don't want to feel pain. We want to be able to relax. Another thing in this pose is that our arms are going to be a bit active to keep our chest up. So we don't want to bring the shoulders towards the ears and be here like this. So we want to keep our arms a bit active to keep them away, but not too much that we will start having a lot of tension on our shoulders. So once that we have found the position that best suits us, we relax the rest of the body. We relax the legs, we relax our belly, we relax our back, and we hold the pose for 2 minutes. For some people who don't have very thick mats and are very slim like me, it might be uncomfortable to be in this position here at the level of hip bone, might be touching the floor and might be painful. Then if that is the case, you might use a folded blanket and put it underneath so that it won't hurt. One more minute. Relax our face, our jaw. Ten more seconds. Okay, now we can slowly come down. We are going to put one hand on top of the other, and then we rest our head on top of our hands. Completely relax our whole body and feel our lower back. We can try to breathe in that area. Now we are going to support ourselves with our hands and come into a child's pose. Here we can choose to have our legs together or a bit away. Then we are going to bring our chest towards our legs, and we keep the arms on the side of our body, and we can choose to place our chin down, our forehead down, or maybe the side of our face on the floor, and then we just relax completely in the pose, and we hold it for another 2 minutes. We can close our eyes, we can keep them open. I mentioned that in every class we're going to work with a specific part of our body, with the exception of this one where we are going to work with the whole body. We're trying to stimulate most of the main joints in the body. The front, the back of the body, the sides, the feet, and the neck. So that's 2 minutes. Now slowly we're going to lift up. We're going to sit on our heels for 1 moment. If this is uncomfortable for you, then you can place a block in between your legs and sit on the block or a cushion. And now we are going to bring our arms to shoulder level, bended like this, and then we are going to inhale and lift our chest up and look up, and then with the exhalation we are going to curve our back and close our arms towards our chest. And then we inhale, open our chest, lift the head up, and then exhale. We bring the arms towards the chest. One more time, we inhale, we lift the chest up, and then exhale, we round our back. Now with the next inhalation, we come back into a neutral position. And now we are going to do a butterfly pose. So we are going to sit and we are going to bring our feet together. We don't have to keep them close to our body. We want to keep them away and maybe create a diamond shape with our legs. If being here is hard for you to keep your back straight, then it's a good idea to use some support, so you can sit on top of a block or folded blanket, a small cushion to lift your body up so you can have your back straight. Then what we want to do is that we want to start folding forward and start the movement from our hips. So I don't want to bring my body towards the front here with the back being rounded on the back side of the mat. So I bring my body a little bit forward, and from there I am actually allowed to round my back and try to bring my head towards my feet. Then once I found the position that is comfortable for me, I stay there. And we are going to hold this pose for 3 minutes. There are, like I said before, there are always exceptions to the rules. The second exception we can make when we are doing Yin Yoga is if we are holding the pose and then we feel that the pose has become too intense, then we can move to adjust and make it less intense. Or sometimes the opposite can happen. We stay in the pose for 1 minute or 2 minutes and then we don't feel anything. And then we can move to go a bit deeper in the pose. So in this case, we might bring the forearms toward the floor, or if we have the forearms, then we might bring them up. And I forgot to mention, in this pose, for some people, it is hard to relax with the legs like this. So then you might place some support underneath the legs. So this is easier to relax. If this is your case, if it's not your case, then you just stay in the pose as you are. Then we just focus in our breath. We relax our face and our jaw. Thirty more seconds. And now we slowly come back up. We're going to bring our hands back and extend the legs in front of us. We're going to give a little shake to our legs. Now we bend again our knees and do again the windshield wipers. Now we are going to lay down for one moment to do a short rebound. Feel what the pose has done for us. And now we come back to sitting. Now we are going to do caterpillar. So we are going to keep our legs extended in front of us. And once again, if in this pose it's really hard for us to keep the back straight, then it's good to use some support underneath us. Then it's better to sit underneath something to elevate our back. Now, once again, we want to start the movement from our hips. We are going to lean forward. And then after we start the movement from our hips, we can start rounding our back, and we are going to try to bring our head towards the legs. And you might feel a strong stretch on the back of your legs. Then you might stay here. And then as you hold the pose and maybe the stretch is not so strong anymore, then you can go a bit deeper. We are going to hold this pose for 3 minutes. And I am already counting. We relax the legs completely, the shoulders, the face, the jaw. In this pose, we can also put a block in front of us to support our head. It's not mandatory, but it's a good idea to explore with the different options that we have to figure out what works best for us. Now we slowly come back up. We bring our hands towards the back, and then once again we give a shake to our legs, move them from side to side. We bend our knees and move the legs from one side to the other. Now we do a reverse table, so we inhale and bring the body up, then down again. Once more, bring the body up and then down. And now we are going to work with our feet and shoulders. So we are going to come sitting on our heels. We are going to tuck our toes, and then we sit on our heels, and then we are going to start feeling a stretch on our feet, on the soles of our feet. If it is uncomfortable for our knees here, then we can place a folded blanket or a small pillow so that there's not uncomfort there. Once we are here, we are going to lift our right arm up, and with the left arm we are going to press it across our chest, and then we are holding, and then we are going to hold this pose for 1 minute. Here we are working with our right shoulder, giving it a bit of a stretch. Now, after 1 minute, we can slowly let go of the arms. Keep them on the side of the body, and now we do it on the opposite side. We keep marinating our feet and just switch the arm. Now the left arm across our chest. And we hold this pose for another minute. Now we slowly let go of our arms and then give a little shake to our shoulders and arms. And now we lean forward and we are going to point our toes back now and sit on top of our heels. If this is uncomfortable for you, then you can choose to place a block or a cushion in between your legs, and then you sit on top of it, and then you stay here. Now comes the second part. We are going to stretch our neck now. So we are going to lift our right hand up, and then we are going to place it on the left side of our head, and then we're going to bring our head towards the right shoulder, and then we hold it for 1 minute. We relax the left shoulder, and just observe the stretch, the tension that we accumulate in our neck. Now slowly we bring our head back to the center. Bring our right hand down, and now we switch sides. So now with our left hand, we are going to bring our head towards our left shoulder and stretch the right side of our neck. So now slowly we bring our head back to the center, let go of the left hand. And now we are going to make slow circles towards the right with our head, small and slowly. And then we do it to the other side. And now we are going to lay on our back for one last pose before we do our Shavasana. We are going to do happy baby. So we are going to lift our feet, and we are going to try to hold our feet from the inside or the outside of the feet. If you cannot hold your feet, you can also hold your ankles or your legs. And in this pose, you can choose to stay still or move a bit from side to side. Now you can slowly let go of your legs and come into Shavasana or Savasana. If it's cold where you are, you can feel free to grab your blanket and place it on top of you so that you don't get too cold. You get comfortable, and then just relax your whole body. Observe your natural breath. Observe the effects of the practice. When we do Yin Yoga, it's not really mandatory to do long Shavasanas like it is for Hatha or Ashtanga, that we need to stay for at least 5 minutes in order to let our body to cool down and come back to the natural state, to the neutral state. In Yin Yoga we can do only 2 minutes, and that's okay. But also, if we feel like it, we can do longer Shavasanas. We can stay 10 minutes if we want. So it's not forbidden. Now take a deep breath in and then slowly release it. Once again, take a deep breath in and then slowly release it. Now you can start moving your toes and your fingers. Then you can make circles with your wrist and ankles in one direction and then on the other direction. You can stretch your body. And now do any movement that your body needs right now. Maybe you put the blanket on one side if you were using a blanket. And then slowly we come into a sitting position with our legs crossed. We use some support. We keep our back straight and our shoulders relaxed. We are going to close our eyes for one moment. Inhale deeply and then exhale slowly. Go back to your natural breath. And now bring your palms together in front of your heart and practice some gratitude. Give thanks to life or the universe for whatever you are thankful for today. Now we take another deep breath in, and with the exhalation we bring our head towards our heart and our hands towards our forehead. And then with the inhalation we slowly bring our head back up and slowly open our eyes. Thank you. I really hope that you enjoy this class. If this is your first ever Yin Yoga class, I would love to read in the comments what are your impressions, how do you like it, and if it's not your first class, I would also like to read how are you feeling after this class. Once again, thank you. I hope to see you for the next one, and namaste. If you enjoyed this class and you want to support me, please consider giving this video a like and also subscribing to my channel by clicking here so that you can stay tuned for more. Thank you. Inhalamos, subimos los brazos, silla. Exhalamos, nos doblamos hacia el frente.